Shockers, what's up, Gruntworks Nation? The Big Earl's always asking, why is China hoarding food? Experts say that China is hoarding a massive amount of food. They will soon have over two-thirds of the globe's corn reserves, over half of its rice, and over half of its wheat. But when asked about it, China lies. One China expert says they, of course, will never admit to something like that. Well, what does China know that we don't? When it comes to global food shortages, China is the canary in the coal mine. You see, China is the world's number one food importer. They rely on the rest of the world to keep their people fed. So they can't afford to mess up, or there will be riots, civil panic, or even worse, when over 1 billion people can't eat. What does this mean for Americans like you and me? Two words: food shortages. That's why it's a smart idea to stock up on a kit of best selling Four Patriots survival food. Create your own stockpile of the best selling Four Patriots survival food kits, hand packed in the USA. The kits are compact and stack easily. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. And their 5-star reviews on the website rave about the flavor and the taste. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase of Four Patriots survival food by typing in the code VTTGW at checkout. Just go to 4patriots.com and use the code VTTGW to get 10% off your first purchase of Four Patriots survival food. That's 4patriots.com. Use the code VTTGW.
Hey, what is up, Mental Health Nation? Hope everybody's having a great, what's that, Wednesday? Oh, I don't know why I keep forgetting what day it is. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this super special episode tonight. It's going to be a little emotional for me probably. But I think it's important to show. It kind of goes along with the theme I've had going on with my mental health minutes. If you've been watching them this week, with your characters and how sometimes when you're going through trauma and recovery, you didn't act like you normally did. But hey, before we jump into it, I just want to say that Reads Across America Radio is now replaying my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. They got the new hat. I just got it in the other day. But yeah, it's super easy to find. You just download your favorite app, the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app. Search for Reach Across America Radio. And you can just download and listen to all the great programming. I think they have like 30 or 40 shows on there now to include mine. So I'm super honored to be part of that. Along with it, scrolling at the bottom, just like Big Earl said in the beginning, get the 4patriots.com. Please go out there and always be prepared. I know Virginia got slammed with bad weather this week. Here in Italy, it was rough. It was rough today. It was cloudy, 61. When I went and ran my 5K today, it was I think it was 59 degrees and 97% humidity. Tough, rough running. It was a good workout. I've been doing my in processing, so that's been going good. I kind of delayed that while Junior was here, but it's kind of nice because I'm independent, so I can just go attend what classes I need to attend and leave, and they can't really say anything to me. There's something on my shirt. So anyway, that's kind of funny. Kind of enjoying that. If you saw my post the other day, I was kind of making fun. Crystal's an '06 now, so I went to the NEX, and there was plenty of parking. But hey, what the hell? So I went up there and pulled in the '06 parking. Of course, she's got her placard, and so I made a funny little video about that. So feel free to go out there on my Facebook page and watch that. It was just kind of something fun to do, and as a warrant officer who until you get W-5, and a lot of bases don't have special parking places. And the same thing with enlisted. It's kind of fun to go and do that. And I just had a good time with it. It made me laugh. But hey, you can support us by sending stars. So be sure to do that. Also with Reach Across America, you see the QR code up there. You can scan that. We can start making donations for next year to make sure that the veterans have those wreaths on their gravesite. I'm very proud to be part of Reach Across America and with what they do and everything. And it's really a special group. Even during COVID, they made sure that happened and that those wreaths were placed. And it's a pretty amazing organization. I'm very proud to be part of that along with VTT. Be sure to go out and check out all the good gear on veteranstrashtalk.com. They got all the good gear out there. I'm getting all this stuff out of the way first because I might get a little emotional as we jump into what is going to be playing here in a little bit. So now with all that out of the way, The video that I'm gonna, hey Brian, how you doing? The video that I'm gonna show you tonight was something that was sent to me by a friend. It was never released by the Army. It was a video made about 13 years ago for a, I don't remember the campaign at the Army. I don't remember what they called it. But they spent about $1 million. They made several videos about it, very touching videos. And one of the very first videos I think I ever made early on in my speaking career. But a new command sergeant major came in, said we don't have stigma in the Army, not going to cut them, and they got rid of it. Luckily, some videos were saved, and I was able to finally, after so many years, get the video and watched it. And I talked about this 2 weeks ago. I didn't realize that I had showed my suicide note in that, and so even though nobody's seen it, you're going to see it one time tonight, and then I guess on Reads Across America Radio, you'll be able to listen to it. The volume is a little bit low. We are restricted. We can't change it. We can't do anything with it, obviously. So just know that. So you may have to turn it a little bit louder to hear it, or your radio, or your phone if you listen to it on Reads Across America Radio on Friday or Sunday. But we're going to play. It's about a 7-minute video. I will tell you that it was the only video that my father, who passed away a couple of years ago, ever did. And also my mother's on it too. Hey, Chris, let's go ahead and get that video and get it playing. And let me know what you think.
I was working in Crystal City at the National Guard Bureau, which is about 4 blocks away from the Pentagon. We were there. I worked in the J6 in the Automation Information System Directorate, and we were scheduled to go to the Pentagon to work on our swing space because they just finished the renovation part. And actually, it's kind of funny. My boss, who was never late to work, ended up being 10 minutes late, and we couldn't leave till after he showed up. So actually, when the plane hit, I was about a half block away from the Pentagon when it hit, and we were heading over to that area. And I remember one instance I was there, and a lady's purse was floating in the water, and I picked it up. And I remember an FBI agent yelling at me because I was disturbing a crime scene, I guess, or whatever, and I picked it up, and you kind of get desensitized and things like that, and he just showed up on scene, and I wasn't in the mood to have a conversation, so I was very curt with him over that, and I still set up on the thing because at least I didn't want it ruined if that was... You knew that person didn't survive. You wanted their family at least to have that. So. I went home, took my boots, hat, and clothes off, put them in a box, took my uniform off, put it in wash, called the family, let them know it's okay. That was it. About a year later, the one anniversary, they did an article, and the family, they had pictures of family members, and they were writing little letters. And the son was writing in about his mom. And, I found half her body in there, and that was hard for me. And so, all those memories that I had repressed started coming back. As I started not sleeping at night because I would dream about things that I saw and did, and I didn't want to go sleep because I didn't want to have those dreams. So I started drinking more, to avoid that. So then maybe I would, instead of sleeping, I would, pass out. I said what I needed to say to get over it. And even though I would meet with a counselor and go in and talk to him, like, everything's going good, I'm feeling better, blah, 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 I just didn't. And maybe it was part of me didn't want to deal with it myself. I didn't want to really go in there and talk about, what I felt or what I was feeling, because men just don't do that. We don't talk about our feelings or why we're upset or why we're hurting or why we do this. And so I didn't. I don't know what triggered me that night. when I wrote the note. When you're going through that process, PTSD, and you don't understand how you feel. And because I don't understand how I feel, I can't tell my family, who knows there's something wrong with me, how to help me.
As a mother, you become heartsick because you have no answers, and you don't ask the right questions because you're not getting an answer. You just know something isn't right, but you can't fix it.
I took those pills to lay down on my couch, and my brother just had me get a funny feeling at work. And he's a nurse, and he worked about a mile away from home, and he came home, and of course, I was semi-conscious, and he took me to the hospital and went through that whole, process of pumping your stomach, making you throw up, all that other stuff. It's there that I really realized that what I was doing wasn't working, and I was given a second chance. A couple of years ago, the Army started the Comprehensive Soldier Family Fitness Program. I ran that program for TRADOC for about a year, and the response I got from soldiers was amazing, and it told me that I needed to tell my story more, because there's a lot more soldiers out there that need to tell their story, or need to know that it's okay to go through what you went through. But I also believe in the techniques that they teach at the resiliency school and all the resiliency training we get, that probably I would not have went down that path that I would have went down, because it would have taught me how to, one of the good things they say is, hunt the good stuff. At the end of every day, think of 3 good things before you go to bed that happened that day. No matter how crappy your day is, there's 3 things that happened good that day.
They are worth saving. They saved us. Why do they not give us an opportunity to help save them? Because they are worth it.
He's in the business of trying to save people. And it doesn't matter whether you're drowning or whether you've had a bad experience in the Army or the war or wherever. He wants to do what he can to help.
Going to counseling and getting help and doing those things, it didn't make me less of a soldier. It didn't make me less of a man. If anything, it made me a better man and a better soldier. Because now I can not only help myself, but I know how to help others and let them know that it's okay to go to have those issues and problems.
First of all, I'm going to say F you to the Sergeant Major who wouldn't allow that to be released, because I think that video could have saved a lot of lives. So that's my personal thought. That's my personal feeling after watching that. I haven't seen that video in its entirety. That's the first time I saw it. I saw bits and pieces of it the other day, but I wanted to wait and see it live on air with you guys after so long. That's tough. That was hard to watch. This business with the mental health warrior and talking about PTSD and just trying to help people. Gets to you after a while, but it's important. It's important to show things that cause pain, because I think it shows that I'm a real person. I think it shows that I'm no different than any of my listeners out there. I'm no different than anybody. I'm not somebody special. I'm not, I'm just a guy that just went through some crap. But, one thing I've been talking about in my mental health minutes is sometimes when you're going through things like I was in that video, or talking about in that video, is, sometimes you lose your core character, when you're going through stuff. And then when you stop going through stuff, and for me, it was surviving my suicide attempt, and you start going to recovery, then you start realizing that some of the things you did really wasn't true to yourself or wasn't the true you. And that adds another layer of stress on yourself. I don't know what the hell's on my shirt. What's I don't know. White stuff on my shirt. Anyway, sorry. OCD kicked in. And so, on my mental health minute today, I talked about, what I was going to talk about as far as what I did, and, what values or character values that I wasn't living up to and didn't do after I was, got done with treatment. And, before I went through what I went through, I was I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I believe in dignity and respect. I believe in treating others as you want to be treated because that's how I grew up. That's my core family values. We didn't care about, whether you had money or who you were or the color of your skin. None of that mattered to us. What mattered to us was your character and your word and how you did things and how you presented yourself. And so I carried that on through my military career. But when I was going through what I was going through, I lost that. I lost that part of me. And so at work, I hardly ever cuss, to be honest with you. Sometimes I do. But, I started cussing at work, slamming the phone down, being short with people, starting to become withdrawn. I talked about not going down to lunch with people. I didn't want to talk with anybody. When I did talk with people, I was rude with them. I wasn't nice about it. And I just really mistreated my coworkers. And they didn't understand what was going on with me. They knew something was going on with me, obviously. But then after my suicide attempt, and I went back to work, now I had to face him again. And, just like on a couple of weeks ago, we had a guest on that was the sheriff, and he talked about how he didn't do things right, but then he had to go back and work for 3 years. His story really resonated with me because I kind of had to go through the same thing. And one thing that I did that I found out that was probably the easiest thing to do, not easy as in doing it, but to me, the easiest way to put it to rest was the coworkers that I worked most closely with. I got them together in a group and just kind of was honest with them and really told them what was going on and what I was dealing with. And I apologized to all of them and really just owned up for the way I acted. I, wasn't right. I was incorrect in the way I acted. And I think for people who was on the other side of it probably appreciated the fact that I did that, that I was man enough to say, hey, I was wrong. I know I was going through things and not knowing how to deal with it, but that's not always an excuse. And so for me to help with my recovery, that's one thing I had to do. So, this month in January, I've been talking about that for a lot of years. January was not a good month for me, right? So you think about it. I attempted suicide at the end of December. I had to spend 3 days in the hospital. Then I had to travel back to Virginia. Now it's January. People now just coming off holiday break. So a lot of them didn't know that I had attempted suicide because they were gone on vacation or whatever. My coworkers or my chain of command knew, obviously, because they got notified. And so I had to start going back through that again. And I think if you're just coming out of that, sorry, it's hard for me to talk about, but if you're just coming back out of that, right, and you're trying to recover, that makes it hard. It makes it that much harder. And then to go back and face family members, friends, people you had wrong, just makes it that much more tough. And something I don't ever talk about, and I think it's probably something I should be talking about, is how when you're going through recovery, how that can affect your relationship with people. Because some people will forgive you and be understanding about it, and some people won't. And so, how do you deal with the people that don't? I did. I said my piece, and I was at peace with what I said. Am I saying sorry or whatever? And if you chose in your heart not to forgive me, that's your choice, not mine. And I think for sometimes, we try to, when you're going through recovery and you're trying to make amends. I think sometimes some people will never accept it. Maybe because you got their own crap going on in their life and not dealing with it, and they're projecting that on you. More so than not, that's probably the issue. However, you can't allow that to stop your recovery. You have to keep moving forward. And just like, I talked about, in the video, what I talked about on my mental health minutes is, knowing and going back to your core character, your core beliefs, back to you, the true you before you had your issues, whether it's drug problems, trauma, whatever it is. More than likely, you're going to lose a lot of friends. Not a lot, but some. You may lose a lot. I don't know. I don't know what your friend base is. And for anybody who has been through that, that's hard, right? Because you thought these people were your buddies, you thought them were your pals, and because now you're getting better, and maybe they have their own issues and problems, and they're not. They become less supportive, or they try to derail your recovery. And that's important because that happens a lot, because a lot of people want you to stay here. They don't want you to be up here. Sadly, it happens. And that makes it hard. And then, of course, there's a stigma associated with, asking for help and getting help. And of course, I was in aviation, and that's a huge stigma in that field, with a lot of fields, really. But, you just have to know that you got to take care of yourself, right? You have to get through what you're dealing with. And if you lose a couple of friends, so be it. More than likely, a couple years down the road, maybe they'll come back. It doesn't matter. But in the end run, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to look out for yourself. And of course, I think it's what's it. Alcoholics Anonymous talks about the 10-step program, and I think one of them is forgiveness or acting for forgiveness. I'm not too sure about it. But if somebody knows about it, throw it in the comments. But isn't that one step is where you go and ask people for forgiveness or amends or something? I don't know, but somebody knows, just throw it in the comments. So, this is something that I had talked about with my therapist, and he kind of coached me on it. And, of course, it wasn't something that happened, but because of all of that, January was a very rough month for me for years. I hardly ever celebrate my birthday. My birthday's coming up January 24th. May go out for dinner. I don't know. I have not had a birthday party probably since 9/11. I don't remember. I didn't have a 40th. I didn't have a 50th. I turned 54 this year. Not having one now. Maybe that's something I should change for next year. I don't know. It's not going to happen this year. But maybe next year I'll throw a party. Have people come out to Italy and we'll party down in Italy when I hit double nickels there. But that's okay. That's just me. It's how I am. But I think that really also January is a rough month for people because you're coming out of Christmas holidays. Maybe you spent too much money. Maybe money's really tight. The economy's gone to crap now. Money doesn't go as far as it used to. And so it can be a hard month. I mean, it's kind of the dead of winter too. So there's a lot of layers that happen, I think, in January too, that makes it even more stressful. And for me, trying to go back to my core character, my core beliefs after what I went through was tough. And for many, many years, I just couldn't wait till January got over with quick enough. I mean, I would literally keep myself busy and keep my mind in it. Okay, yeah, Brian just said that it's the ninth step, may direct amends to people we have harmed. Thanks for that, Brian. Appreciate it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was doing, I guess, around since way, but that's hard. Um, Maybe they make it the ninth step because hopefully that making amends to people won't make you, um, go back to drinking or something. I don't know. But, I think that, for me, watching the video tonight, something that I haven't seen entirely for a long time, and the photos of 9/11, and knowing, back then what I was going through. Now, so what you guys don't know is, yes, I made that video, but the command that I was under at that time had zero support for what I was doing and made my life a living hell. And I went through that quite a bit in my military career, but I felt that was a different time than 13 years ago. But I felt like it was more important to speak to soldiers and try to help people because that was my core value, right? And now I'm living my core values. And so it goes back to what I said earlier. If somebody else had an issue, a problem with that, no matter if they're leadership or not, that's on them, not on me. I'm going to continue with what I'm doing because I don't want somebody sitting in a dark room. I don't want somebody thinking they're not worth anything or they're worthless or their life has no value. Because everybody's life has value. Whether you want to believe it or not, if you're breathing right now, listening to this podcast, wherever you're at, I don't care if you're homeless on the street, I don't care where you're at. If you're taking a breath right now, your life has meaning. And it might take you a while to figure that out, but your life has meaning. And I guarantee you that in the end, there are people who care about you and there are people who wish for you to get better and continue with your recovery. There are some people that don't, but probably more people that wish you would. I am one of them. That's why I do what I do. That's why I talk about what I talk about. That's why Veteran Trash Talk exists, because of a need to help, veterans, to give them a safe space to talk. That's why I'm a big proponent of EarKick, the app that I talk about all the time. That's free to download. The AI on there, you can have a conversation with the AI just like we are. It doesn't judge you. Nobody keeps it. You can tell that panda whatever you want. You can rename the panda now, so you call it whatever you want. But that's a helpful app that I use every day. And so there's a lot of tools out there that wasn't available when I was going through what I was going through, that can be helpful. And for all you veterans out there who went through, master resiliency training, I believe in that training. I thought that training was very good. It's sad it's become check in a block training, but that's normal for most Army training. That's good. It just degrades over time, sadly. But if you took anything out of that resiliency training, I think Hunt the Good Stuff was one of the best techniques they ever taught. I think learning the importance of sleep and learning the importance of moderation and things, and not taking things to extreme. I think all those things were important. Just like I talk about with that old doctor I had that said, well, how many drinks do you drink in a day? And I was like, 4. And he's like, well, how about try drinking 3? And then next time I saw him a year later, it was drinking 2. And, now I just drink every now and then or whatever. I mean, it was just an easy way to reduce alcohol consumption. And so, I talk about this too, is with New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in them, but I think that if you set yourself small goals, then you can achieve them. And if just drinking a half ounce less of alcohol a day works, try it. What's it going to kill you? What's a half ounce, really? Maybe it's, instead of drinking scotch, maybe it's drinking a beer or something. I don't know. I'm drinking a beer tonight. I may have some grappa later. Probably will have grappa later. And maybe play some Destiny too. My father and I would play Destiny a lot. We still have his gaming system in the house. Actually, it's hooked up right next to my TV here in Italy, along with my PS5. So it still has his profile and everything on it. I know sometimes Cliff Jr., my older son, will get on and play that under his profile, so it still exists. So I think that's nice, important. They played a lot together. Um, it was kind of interesting that if you didn't watch, go out and watch it. That Dave from VTT did a thing about survivor's guilt. Made a video about it. He brought up some really good points in that. And if you haven't watched that, go out and watch it. It's a good video. And hey, Faceman, thanks for making that video. Not an easy topic to talk about. But when you lose a loved one, or you have somebody close to you, like my father was to me, it's hard, it's tough. You miss him every day. But that's part of life, right? You can't change it, and so you have to deal with it. And the only things we can change is what happens today, what happens right now at this moment. We can choose to make those changes, or we can choose not. The decision is totally up to you. And if you've been making the wrong decisions, maybe let's try to make one right decision, right? Um, who knows? It's 10:30 here in Naples, Italy. I've been having a lot of fun in Italy. If you've been showing my post, I'm not too for sure what trip I'm going to take next, but we'll try to figure that out and go and see. But I'm excited to take my driver's test tomorrow, so I can start driving. It's been kind of sucky not driving. And I drove in Europe before, so it's not that big of a deal. It's something that I can relatively do, but in Italy they like to bump into each other, so it's better to have all your stuff correct before you jump behind that wheel and start driving. Oh, I know what I found out today in my in-processing class. So the legal the alcohol level limit in Italy is 0.05. In the States, it's 0.08. Very strict, immensely strict on it. So if you're in Italy or Europe, don't drink and drive. Take a taxi, take a bus, take a train. Don't do it, because in Italy, found out this day, if you're in a traffic accident and it's not your fault, yes, if you're anywhere, don't drink and drive. Excellent point. But if you're in an accident and it's not your fault, and they're going to give you a breathalyzer test, and if you're over the limit, guess who's going to jail too? You are. That's here in Italy. So if you're out traveling the world, hey, I don't drink and drive. If I'm drinking, somebody else is driving. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. But I just thought that was interesting how much lower the limit is, 0.05. I think it's the same way in Japan too. I'm not too sure. Yeah, they said it's about one glass of wine, one beer every hour or something. But the commander said today, he said he doesn't risk it. If he's out drinking, him and his wife will just take a taxi cab back to the base, or kind of Uber here, but not really. Can't go on base here, but at least you can Uber to the gate and then walk through the gate. But yeah, that's always a good thing to do. Never drink while you're impaired. And of course, here on Naples, the base we live on, it's all families here, so it's like 1,000 units. So you always have kids running around and kids walking back and forth to school and all kinds of those. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of a good, safe environment. My youngest son's really enjoying the freedom that he's able to have here, sadly, that he can't have back home. Japan's 0.03. Dang! That's like what? Like a sip of sake? Is that? It's like I'm already over the limit. China, Estonia, Poland, and Sweden are 0.02. Wow. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think these states ought to drop their legal drinking limit down to the same as it is in Estonia, Poland, and Sweden at 0.02? I just saw, hey, for the people that are listening that's out in Texas, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but I saw where on X that if you are in a DUI accident in Texas and you kill their parents and they have children, they're going to force you to pay child support to the child that you kill. Yep, that's true. All right. Well, I think that's a hell of a good law. Kudos to Texas for passing that law. But hey, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I need to go take my own mental health minute for a second and process everything that I talked about tonight in the video I showed. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. But hey, January can be a rough month. So if you're not quite there, if you're feeling down a little bit, get up, change your environment, get out, go do something. Call a buddy, call a friend. If you're drinking too much, put the glass down for a little bit. Be sure to take care of yourself. And, it's okay to feel down. It's okay to get a little depressed. We all do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of life. But just don't let it consume your life, right? So try to do something to make a change. And hey, listen, if you didn't catch the podcast, if you're going to tell a friend or a buddy about it, just have them go out to Reach Across America Radio. We'll replay it on Fridays. And good night, Brian. Have a good night. We'll play it on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. Just like I said in the beginning of the podcast is you just go to iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the Odyssey app, search for Reach, and then you come up with Reach Across America Radio. Got the new hat here. It's cool. And you can listen to all the great programming in mine. You can re-listen to mine. Be sure to go out to veteranstrashtalk.com. We got all of our great merch out there. I'm wearing one of their Get the Demons Out t-shirts. Be sure to visit 4patriotsfood.com. They got all the great survival food out there, and it's very important because you never know when the storm's going to get hit. The Midwest and the East Coast got slammed. So it's always good to be prepared. And you guys have a great week, and look forward to talking to you next week. Take care. I think Lynn's back next week. She's been on vacation in Mexico, so she'll probably be back next week. But hey, take care, everybody, and have a great night. Bye.
Thanks for watching and listening. And now a word from our sponsor, 4Patriots. In a startling description, the UN food chief warned the world with the words, knocking on famine's door. He called what we're facing a perfect storm of a perfect storm. And he's not alone. Barron's published that a food shortage could be coming, even in the U.S. Farmers see it too. John Boyd Jr., a fourth-generation farmer, told Fox News that we're going to see empty food shelves in the coming months. That's why getting survival food is more important than ever now. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking good for 25 years super survival food. Hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA and giving jobs to over 200 Americans. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. You can make these meals in less than 20 minutes. Just add boiling water, simmer, and serve. And right now, for the next few days, listeners of the Veteran Trash Talk podcast will get 10% off their first order at 4patriots.com by using the code VTTGW. Go to 4patriots.com and use the code VTTGW